videoing now. Okay, good.
Thanks for coming, everyone. So I called this evening Remember, Repair and Reclaim, and I was, it started off by being remembering, repairing and reclaiming, and then something felt more alive by making it a command form, that we are kind of called in on a deeper level to be, to be activated by this event, and not just as a passive memorializing, but as a invitation into some sort of action. So these words kind of like, I invite you to consider tonight through my presentation, and also in the next 24 hours, for you to consider what it is to remember, what is it, and what it is to repair, and what are we reclaiming. So part of creating a live, activated, connected event, I thought about this idea of how the Shoah really did splinter us as a people. It was this massive collective interruption to the whole collective psyche of our peoplehood. I wouldn't be if it wasn't for that event, because, my grandparents met because of it, and I would love to hear your experiences too. My father's side is all from the pogroms, so we're all so born from this kind of shattering principle. So one of the reparative ideas is to make acts of unification. So I have this idea that we would share names of towns that we come from, that are in our memory. And then maybe tonight we meet someone that we never would have thought that we would have met had we not shared this history. So this act of unification from the places that we come from. And then also maybe this piece of connection that we find with these new people. I don't know many people, and I do know other people, that maybe that acts as some sort of invitation to some act of unification, whether you're sharing something of yourself, helping someone, something, that we do some active statement of connection and unity through this event. That's my hope. So I'm going to start. Okay. And then if people would like to do it, that would be really cool. It might take a long time, but still I think it's worth it. Do you feel like you want to do that?
Yeah.
I just came from teaching 6 to 12 year olds, and I'm like, put up your hand if you want to do it. And they all do it, and then they don't even know why they're putting up their hand. So put up your hand if you want to participate in this. Cool. By the way, this is beautiful, and Rushni's going to play. We're going to do something theatrical later on. And thank you, Yachiam, for hosting us for the second year. Well, for the event, not me, but thank you. You made it really lovely and easy for me to be here. So, okay, I'll start. Hungary, West Hungary, Papa, place called Papa, Budapest, Czechoslovakia, a town called Beregzez-Berehovo, other places. Yeah, I think I'll just start with that.
That's on your mum's side. You want to share about your dad's
this
side?
is my sister.
Hi.
Designed to remind me of things. Because I'm really tired, and it's really helped me, and you're part of this too. This is Mira, my sister, and I'm Natalie. So let's go around.
Did you want to say about your father's side?
Yes. Zhmerinka in the Ukraine and Russia. Actually, on my father's side, I'm very proud that there is evidence that we, the Krasnosteins, were the innkeepers for Rebbe Nachman of Breslov. So I did the whole Hasidic trail and really reclaimed this part of my history. By the way, when I talk about myself, I'll tell you about my obsession with the Shoah and my family history. They say there's always one that these narratives land on, and I was definitely the one, and I went to I spent 3 years returning again and again to Eastern Europe, going to every single place where anyone breathed in my family
you can
history.
thank my wife as well, Leah.
Thank you so much, Leah. Welcome to your home. Make yourself comfortable. We certainly have. We've moved the furniture.
We're gonna.
So this really landed on me. It's a decades-long investigation that I've been going into, and so I'll talk a bit about Leah.
I'd like to go next because I'd just like to add to your.
Okay.
You're talking about the European countries, but then they also passed through Israel on the way to Australia. Sfat, Zikron Yaakov, on Dad's, on Krasenstein's side, they were one of the founders, first Aliyah, Zikron.
Buried in Zikron, I visit their graves.
And the other side, they went through Sfat, and then they all ended up in Australia, and that's where we were born. And here we are, both of us, living back in Israel.
And
so.
we made Aliyah out of the families returning. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
From Australia.
Yeah,
Wow.
they had that. Is that an Australian accent?
Why was it?
Okay, who wants to go next? Do you think it's going to take too long?
Don't worry, no one's going anyway. So.
Let's take 1 minute or very
Alright.
short.
Beautiful.
My grandfather's side was from Russia in Lithuania, and Shidlova, my grandmother, and Ponovich, another grandfather, and we grew up in a little village in South Africa where there was nothing.
Oh, wow. Yep, from South Africa. Yep, I've heard of that
And
word.
the only person in the family who was massacred was my father's uncle. He and his wife and his 2 daughters, August 1941.
Oh, wow.
And a little story, a few months before, the Russians came in, and there was a young girl, classmate of my father's cousin basically, who were put on trains to Siberia. And my father's uncle brought them blankets. Now, why this has become interesting, in 1952, one of my uncles came to Israel. He was living in Naharia. He was an anaesthetist in the hospital, and they're busy doing surgery, and they start speaking Yiddish. And the surgeon says, "I know you're Yiddish, where are you from?" And they were from the same village, and that's how the family met.
Wow.
And it's those blankets saved her life,
Oh, wow.
and that is coming together with Jewish media.
Yeah. Lovely story. Thank you. Beautiful.
And they're repeated all over.
Yeah. And they're happening now. I found a cousin in my theatre class, Silla. She's like, Silla Hartman. I'm like, I'm a Hartman. So that's actually, you're the reason I'm here, Silla. So we're yet to investigate that. It's just happening. Yes, Laura.
On my father's side, my grandmother was from a village outside Minsk. So I think it's very close to Anatevka. I'm not really certain.
Perfect. We have a fiddler here for you.
Yeah.
We'll just get her on the roof.
I'm glad you don't have to be outside on the roof.
My father's family came from a very small village called Zunska, which was near Lodz in Poland, and he is no longer. The village is no longer here. He and his parents emigrated between the wars, but all of the rest of his family died in the Holocaust because they did not leave. They did not go. So that's my connection. On my mother's side, they were already in America by the time the Holocaust came.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the family comes from northern Belarus, Bolts and Staroselye, Mogilov region, and Vitebsk region. Okay.
I'm the story of your father and your mother.
Kesha, connection?
Yeah, a long one.
Yes, it's already happened.
I share that
Hey, my family from my mother's side, they came from Buchach, which is today it's Ukraine. Back then it used to be Poland. And also another part of that came from Riga, from Latvia. Yeah, I don't know a lot about my father's side so much. They didn't speak so much. They didn't do so much research about that side. I know a few stories, but barely from where they were.
Poland.
Poland, but I don't know. Like I wouldn't know the names of the cities. And on my mom's side, there was more extensive research that my grandfather did. Really research and even took out tours and was guiding people to like remembering the places and yeah.
So you could access finding out if you wanted to. It's not lost, this information. You could find out.
I'm sure that my dad, maybe I need to research, investigate him maybe a bit better. Him and his brothers, from time to time, they sit together, and they try to remember what their parents told them.
Yeah.
But they don't, yeah.
Yeah. Memory.
My husband's family came from our immediate families. Our grandparents were already here when the war occurred. My husband's other relatives, the other Wanatech part of the family, was in Warsaw, and they were lost in the Holocaust. We met when we were living which city were we living in? Now I'm living in Pardesh-Tana. Where was I living then?
Yeah.
One of those last places in the United States. We were approached in Michigan. Could have been Michigan. Yeah, it was Michigan. It was Oak Park, Michigan. A rabbi came to us and said, "I was there. I was working with your family members and family there. They hired me, and I was there when they came for them."
Wow.
Or they lived in the same building, so it wasn't when they were at work, but he was there when they came for that family. It was like a connection. My family, both my mother's family and my father's family came from one came from Ukraine, from the main city, Kiev, from Kiev. The others came from Odessa. They, like I say, that generation, my grandparents had already been here when the war happened, and some of the other relatives came, but the other relatives a number of relatives remained there. My mother was there before the war, and she was in Russia visiting family, she and a cousin. And at that time, they could only visit them in the quiet of the night in the park. You don't know what happened to those folks. At this point, I feel like I should possibly do some DNA testing and send it out and see if we can find any relatives that way.
That would be amazing. Thank you.